Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 209 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit, and get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. It is Saturday, April 27th, 2024, and it's a dark, dreary day. If we have bad lighting in here, it's overcast. It's quit raining now, but it was raining earlier. It's overcast. It's cold. It's the kind of day when you'd like to stay indoors all day. I did go out, had things to do, I'll tell you about later. But weather's supposed to be improving tomorrow. But it's cool, it's rainy, it's overcast. It's a dreary day out there today. But anyway, if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for coming by to see what this channel is all about. I'm so happy to have you here. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back for another week to see what kind of shenanigans I've been up to. I appreciate that you come back here week after week to see what kind of nonsense I'm up to. And there usually is some kind of nonsense. Anywho, so I'm so happy to have everyone here. If you have not yet done so, it would be fantastic if you click the little subscribe button wherever it's hiding. Is it on this side of... I got a 50-50 chance of guessing which side. I have no idea. It's down in the corner. So if you have not yet subscribed to this nonsense, it would be fantastic if you would, just to keep up with what kind of shenanigans I'm up to. What kind of shenanigans I've been up to. We'll see if I can speak in fluent sentences today or not. I have no idea. I don't know. We shall see. And I apparently have just got a hairball going on here. I'm drinking a cup of tea in my owl cup. Just plain ordinary English breakfast type breakfast tea. Just black tea. So, what have I been up to this week? It's been a busy week, and I only have one knitting project to show you. But here it is. These are my Sock Madness 18 round 4 socks. They are done. I finished them this morning. I was working on them. I had already started them last week. I just finished them this morning. This is the only thing I have been knitting on all week. It was a slow knit for me. I like them. They look really neat. They have all kinds of weird and wonderful techniques in here. But this pattern is called the Gathering Socks, and it is a pattern by Mary Pat McGurk. And they were the round 4 socks for Sock Madness 18. So let's take a look at them. They have kind of a garter stitch type cuff that is a folded cuff. They have these weird little welts. Not quite sure if you can actually even see them. There you can kind of see how they divide up. So that was different. I had done this type of technique on one of the Stephen West mystery shawl knit alongs. I can't remember if it was in Shawlography or what was the other one? Slipstravaganza. It was in one or the other of those, I think. It has a whole bunch of twisted stitches and traveling stitches, which were fun. It has embroidery. Good grief. It has embroidery on it. There are 4 little spots that we had to do a little bit of embroidery. Oh, what was that called? Palestina Knot, I think was the name of it. The heel flap was done in 3 colors. So it included the color, in my case the yellow is what I had in the knots, the brown is what I had on the welts, and the green of course is the main color. It also has these funky, let me just turn it around so it's a little easier to maybe see. It has these ruching details, which were, I thought, a bit of a pain in the wherever to do. You knit a certain number of stitches across the back of the sock, and then once that was done, I put in dividers, markers to keep track of where those spots, that column was. Then in that section where the ruching was, you double the stitch count, and then you went down, I went down 1 needle size. I used a 2.25 for the main body of the sock and a 2mm needle for the ruching section. So for that section, over a certain number of rows, you had 2 sets of needles on the go. I think I was showing you that last week. I think I had started part of the ruching section. So on the front was all done on 2.25mm needles, or that's what I was using. On the back of the sock, the first certain number of stitches and the last number of stitches were done on the 2.25mm, and then that middle section was done on the smaller needles. So you had to kind of switch around back and forth, and then when you finished that little ruching section, you would go back to using 2.25 all the way around until you got to the next ruching section, and there were a total of 4 sections like that. So those were, it looks neat, but those little sections I thought were a little bit, they were tricky to do just because you were wrestling with an extra set of knitting needles. But it looks neat. And the yarn I used for this, all of it is yarn I dyed myself. All 3 of the colors are some of the yarns that I had dyed earlier this spring that I showed you a couple months back, where I had done something like 6 or 8 different skeins of yarn in a variety of colors. So each of these were yarns I dyed myself. I used the green for the main color. The brown and the yellow I used the yellow on the last round of my socks. The brown was used in, so I'm just looking over to the side, they're not sitting there. I don't know where I put them. Anywho, the brown was used on an earlier pair of socks for this year's Sock Madness. So we shall see what comes next. So I did finish them on time and quickly enough so that I was able to qualify for round 5 of Sock Madness, which will be starting in the next week or so. This round will run up until sometime on Wednesday afternoon, or it might end a little bit earlier if everyone finishes, all the teams completely fill up before the Wednesday deadline rolls around. So who knows? I forget how many people are left, or how many spots are still left open. It's not a lot. Although now that we're getting up this far through the competition, there's not as many people advancing each round. Right now for this round, 12 people on each team moved forward. I was the 9th person on my team to finish. And I went out for a few hours this morning. I finished them this morning. I sent in my email at about 10 after 8 this morning. By about 9 o'clock, 10 after 9 this morning, I had got the confirmation email that I was good and that I got the congratulations email and saying that I was advancing to round 5. We got back home about 1:30, 2 o'clock, so we were out for maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. the rest of the seats or the rest of the spots on my team had filled up. So if I had dawdled and not finished them before we left this morning, I wouldn't have made it. I probably wouldn't have made it. So, but I am making it. I am going through to round 5, and we shall see what on earth is in store for us for round 5. There are 3 different groups of specs still listed that we can have. One of them uses 4 different colors with roughly 18 to 25 grams of each one. One of them uses 2, I think one uses like 50, between 60 and 70 grams of each of 2 colors. And they also say that you might want a bobbin, so I'm kind of thinking that might be might be intarsia. I don't know, I'm guessing. And the third one that we still have not seen has 3 colors, a larger quantity, and I think that one of it calls for like 70 grams. The other 2, so I think it's about 15 grams of 2 other colors, all of them high contrast between each other, and beads. So I'm kind of hoping the beads are next. I'm hoping intarsia is not next, but who knows? Stay tuned. Hopefully when I see you next Saturday, I'll be able to tell you what the next round is. So we shall see. So that's all my knitting for today, for this week. I just picked up this morning while I was waiting for my email to come back to let me know if I had got through to 5 or not. I picked up my 2 at a time toe up sort of shorty socks using a couple of the skeins of my April row 1 mini skeins. And I added, I think, 2 rounds. So I can't be bothered showing that to you because it won't look any different than it looked when I showed it to you probably 2 weeks ago. So this week coming up before the next round comes out, I am planning on getting some work done on the row 1 socks. And also I'm hoping to get some work done on both of my cardigans. And on Wednesday, the 1st of May, I will be casting on my Musselburgh hat. I'm hoping to get started on that in the morning before I have to go to work. This next week or so is going to be up and down for busy for work. Tomorrow afternoon, Sunday afternoon, we have a student awards ceremony on campus, so I'm not sure if I'll get an awful lot of knitting done tomorrow because we have church in the morning and then out for lunch, and then once that's done, then 2 o'clock is the awards ceremony. So I'll be gone from home at like 8:30 in the morning, and I probably won't be back home until between 4 and 5 in the afternoon is my guess. I'm not sure. The awards start at 2. Yeah, I probably won't be home before 4 o'clock. Monday, Tuesday, I'll be finishing off the last of my grading, getting all of that done. And I've got a few other administrative things I have to get done at the beginning of the week. Wednesday, my in-person class, they write their final exam. So I have to make sure I've got that, finish prepping that in the next couple days, get that done, administer that exam on Wednesday. They write at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I think is when it's scheduled. Get that graded, done. And the last batch of papers are being turned in on Wednesday night, midnight. And that I'll get that graded on Thursday morning, earlier if everyone's turned in their work earlier. I'm not holding my breath on that. They seldom get things turned in early. So I will get that graded and then I'm done. So that'll take up Thursday. Then Friday we have the end of semester luncheon for all the faculty and staff, and awards like faculty awards, staff awards, all that kind of stuff. That's all on Friday. They're also having a thing for, there's a handful of people from our campus that have retired in this past while, so they'll be, they're finished at the end of this semester. They're done, they're heading into retirement. So there's stuff going on for them. Then Friday afternoon we have the rehearsal for graduation, making sure we get everything all lined up, everyone knows where they're supposed to be and when to do this, that, the other thing. So that's Friday afternoon. Saturday morning, May the 4th, is graduation. Once the grad ceremony is over, we've got our pictures taken with our kids. My colleague and I, we always make sure every year we get a picture with all the students that graduate from our program. So she and I, all of our students each year that have graduated from the inception of the program. So it's really cool that we've got a series of pictures from every year with all of our kids. So once that's all done, I get home next Saturday afternoon, the semester is done. And I'll be ready for a break. I will try to get a picture of me on Saturday, all done up in my regalia, so my gown, hood, all that stuff for graduation, because all the faculty get all gussied up in all of our finery, our academic finery. So I'll try to get a picture of that to show you guys. I think I might have shown some pictures last year. I like to get a picture every year of myself at grad. So that'll be fun. I enjoy grad. A lot of people think it's just boring, they hate it, they don't want to be there. I love it. I'm always so happy to see all of our students graduate. Get that piece of paper, and some of them I'm happy to see the tail end of them. The majority of them, I'm so proud of all of them for everything they've accomplished and when they're done. So, what else? I have an acquisition to show you, and then I'm going to tell you about a little adventure the hubby and I went on earlier this week. So this morning, when I was mentioning that we were out this morning, the hubby and I went to the Frederick Fiber Festival in Frederick, Maryland. It's about a 45-minute drive from our place. So I like going there. They have it twice a year, end of April, end of October. And I showed my mom's email. The subject was show restraint. I did. This is all that came home with me. She calls it a half sock set. So this is by Rising Tide Fiber Co. And it's a 50-gram skein of yarn plus a 20-gram mini for toes and heels. Is that upside down? Yes, that's upside down. Good grief. I hope you're able to read that. It is Here for the Halftime Show is the name of it. And this is the Talbot Fingering 75-25 half sock set, 75% merino, superwash merino, 25% nylon, 230 yards. It says 230 yards or 100 grams. It's not, it's 50 grams. This is not 100 grams. It's only 50 grams. Plus 92 yards or 20 grams. And I'm excited. I have a few of her skeins. I really like her yarn. They're a great price. And she's one of the few people at the Frederick Fiber Festival that do the 50-gram skeins of yarn. And you guys all know how I love my two up, two at a time sort of shorty socks. And this is perfect for that. So that's my little yarn acquisition. It's so cute. It's such a pretty color. It's got lots of blues and burgundies and purples. It's a really nice, moody, dark color. She only had two of these 50-gram skeins left. So this other one she had looked similar to one I bought from her when I went to the Fiber Festival in October. So I was leaning towards that one, but I really wasn't 100% sure if I already had it or not. So, and she had said that this purple one, she said she did not have that. That's a new colorway of hers. She did not have it at the show in October. So she said you could not have bought it at the show in October. So that clinched it. That was the one I bought. And I'm excited to get started on those. I am going to have to go through all of my yarn one of these days, especially all my sock yarn, and start working with what I have and get going with them and start knitting more of my vanilla socks. I love my vanilla socks. We shall see what round 5 looks like, and I'll see if I get I've never made it beyond round 5 in Sock Madness. That's the farthest I've ever been. I've been into round 5. I think this might be the second or third time I've made it into round 5. I've never made it out of round 5. Round 5, only 7 people, the fastest 7 on each team advance. Then round 6, the fastest on each team advance to the final round. And then once you get to the final round, the fastest person on each team go head to head and compete for who the champion is going to be. So I have no I don't even know what the word I'm looking for. I don't think I have a snowball's hope and where of making it to the final. I might get out of round 5. I think it'd be really cool to get into round 6 because I've never done that before. But we shall see. Depending on when the pattern comes out, I'm pretty busy later. The later half of this week, I won't have a chance to knit much on Friday or Saturday. So we shall see. Time will tell. So, and what else? So, I'm planning on starting that Musselburgh hat using this yarn that I dyed a while back. I don't have all the details quite worked out yet, but what I'm going to do is on Tuesday, I'm going to post a short video that I will show you. I'll get this all caked up and I will talk about the details of this Musselburgh make along. I don't have a hashtag decided yet. I have not opened up a new thread on Ravelry yet. Those details, I will get that. I will post a quick video on Tuesday because I want to cast on Wednesday. If you've already cast on, that's cool. You can still join. I'm fine with that. If you want to wait until the 1st and join in, fantastic. Either which way, we're all good. So I'll probably cast on Wednesday, and then round 5 will come out on Wednesday or Thursday, and the poor hat will get put aside until I get to, I finish my round 5 socks or I get knocked out, one or the other. So stay tuned and see how that all works out. So otherwise, we went on a little overnight getaway on Thursday and Friday. So we left Thursday and we drove down from where we are near the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. We drove down to Waynesboro, Virginia. It's about a 2.5-hour drive south of us. So I went through Maryland, through West Virginia, through part of Virginia, mostly all straight down Interstate 81. When we got on to, with a GPS, we got onto 81. the GPS said the next thing, we didn't have to do anything for, I think it was like 149 miles. So it's just like straight down I-81 and don't worry about anything else. And then once we got off, I think we were like 12 miles from our destination. So it wasn't a bad drive. It was a bit of a long drive, but it wasn't bad. I do the driving, so I didn't get any knitting done. And we got there, we got to our hotel, really nice little, it's pretty much it's brand new or newly renovated. And the neat thing about it is it was completely contactless. There was no one out, there was nobody there working. And when we were able to check in, they sent us an email. They said 48 hours before check-in time, they will send you information. They emailed us a code to punch into the door, and they said the code would activate at 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. It would deactivate at 11 o'clock on Friday when checkout time was. So we didn't talk to anyone or anything. They had coffee, they had a code to get into the room with the coffee. So you went and just made your own coffee or tea in the little Keurig kind of machine. And it was really nice. It's kind of set in the edge of the mountain. And it was set back, this part of the story will make sense in just a minute. It's set back a couple 100 yards off the highway. So it's got like this huge front yard, and they had like bonfire pits and benches, Adirondack chairs, picnic tables, all kinds of stuff like that. So people could have little picnics out there and all that kind of stuff. And so we got there about 3:30, checked in or got into our room, hauled all our stuff upstairs, just vegged out for a bit. And then we decided, okay, it's time to head out for supper, because I wanted to go out for supper and then be back in time to get on Facebook video chat with my mom. So we're heading downstairs, and we just got like the whole thing is like, it's like an old motel that had been revamped, and it's all one with pretty much all the windows facing out towards the highway. And it was most of the rooms were on the main floor, and then there was like the middle part had, I think, about 5 or 6 units across the second floor, and we were up on the second floor. And across on the main floor there's a little veranda and then stairs to go down to the parking lot. So you're saying it's kind of set up into the mountain. And so we get out to the veranda and we look, and it had like a big circle driveway. And we saw on the one side of the driveway, there was a car sitting there, and we could see smoke coming from, it was like right on the side of the road, but right on the edge of the driveway. And there was smoke coming from under the hood. So we're like, ooh, crap, that doesn't look good. And then we're watching, there's more smoke. And my husband said that I didn't notice this, he noticed it. He said he saw the driver's door open, and someone got out of the car and got away from the car. Then we're watching, and then we see orange coming out of the front from under the hood, and we're just like, oh crap, this is not good. And so my hubby's at this point, he's just like, I'm 911, I gotta call. He said somebody else has probably already called, but so he called, and he said that 911 said, we have received a couple calls about it already. Thank you for calling, blah, 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 all that stuff. So we're watching this, and the flames are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then there's like a boom and like explosions. And it was unbelievable to watch this car completely burn. And like I say, it was a good 200 some yards away from the building. So the building was not really in any danger, although it took a while for the fire department to get there, because we were out past the edge of town, heading up towards the mountains. We're kind of, it was getting pretty rural again. So an ambulance got there first. We couldn't see what they were doing because there was trees and things in the way, so we couldn't see what was happening behind the car. And I'll try to insert a picture We took a couple pictures of it. My husband we've got some where we zoomed in on the camera. Or he was videotaped. He videotaped most of it. But then the fire truck got there, and by then it was fully engulfed, and there's nothing left of the car. It was just, so the fire department came, they got the fire out, but before the fire department had got there, we could start seeing that part of the grass on the edge of the road was starting to burn. So we were thinking, it's like, we were just hoping like the fire department got there quickly, because if that continued moving towards the building and into the forest right beside us, we thought that it's still early in the spring and there's a lot of dry leaves and things like that from the fall. That could have been bad, but thankfully the fire department got there. They got the fire put out. It seemed like the hubby went down closer once the fire was out. He was sneaking up a little closer so he could get a couple better pictures of the burnt out car, and he could hear them talking. And there was a young girl, well, a young lady, that was driving the car, and there was no one else in the car with her. She got out safely. She was not injured whatsoever. So she had said she had phoned a friend of hers, then her friend had came and met her there to pick her up and get her wherever she had to go. So yeah, it was kind of scary to watch that. And just like some of the explosions, and yeah, it was quite the thing to see. It was a huge like ball of fire, because it just burnt up like nobody's business. So that was our excitement. It wasn't our car. My husband put on Facebook a couple comments. It's like, there was the car, not our car, somebody else's car. The people that were in the car were safe. Like I said, he saw the girl get out of the car, and that the car was cleaned out of, there was no people in the car. So that was fine. No idea what it was. It could have been electrical, something overheated. Who knows? Who knows? It wasn't an electric car. It was just like a regular older beat up sedan. But yeah, that was the excitement for that. So we were late getting out for supper because we were watching this for like 40 minutes till it was like from beginning to end. It was pretty weird that we saw like the entire thing, like the whole thing happen from beginning to end. And so then on Friday, so that was enough excitement. We went out for supper, found a Chinese buffet place in town. Went and had supper, came back to the hotel and just vegged out. By the time we came back after supper, the car had been towed away and everything was cleaned up. But the next day on Friday, we got up early. By 8 in the morning, 7:38 in the morning, we went out, and the plan for the day was we were only a couple miles away from the entrance to the Skyline Drive, which goes along near the top of like the crest of the Blue Ridge Mountains, going northwards through the Shenandoah Valley National Park, or is it Shenandoah Valley? It's Shenandoah National Park. And so we drove the whole, we started at the south end and drove all the way up to the north end. It's like 105 miles. You can only drive at maximum 35 miles an hour the whole way. There's something like 75 or 76 like little overlooks or outlooks, so you can pull off. There's little areas where you can pull off to the side of the road and look over, like you say, you're on like the crest of the mountain, so you can see to the east and the west and just look at all the different views. It was gorgeous. It was absolutely beautiful. They say you're supposed to be able to see all kinds of wildlife. We didn't see a lot. We saw 6 white-tailed deer, 3 squirrels. They don't count really. I saw an owl. We saw quite a few different birds, but the owl was really neat to see, as he or she was just kind of like on this tree on the side of the road. It's supposed to be quite common to see black bears up there. We didn't see any bears. My husband was disappointed. He is keeping a good lookout for bears. He really wanted to see a bear. We didn't see any. The only bears we saw were in the gift stores, and they were fluffy stuffed toys. So we didn't see any bears. He wants his money back. But it was gorgeous. So we entered the park, I think it was about 20 after 8 in the morning. We stopped at, what was it called? Skyline. There's a restaurant partway along there. So we stopped there for lunch, and we had a dessert there that a few people we know that have done the drive say you have to have it. It's fantastic. It's a blackberry ice cream pie. Oh man, it was so good. So it was in a graham cracker crust with blackberry pie, or blackberry ice cream, meringue on top, and then it had a blackberry jam sauce that it was sitting in. It was so good. It was so delicious. It was a big chunk of pie. Plenty for everyone. I'll put a picture of the pie up here because it was so good. It was delicious. And then we drove the rest of the way up to the south, or the north end of the park. And we got there, it was about between 2 and I think maybe 2:30. 2:30 or 3. So it took roughly 6-7 hours to drive the whole distance, plus the stop for lunch. And we pulled into all like where the campgrounds were. We just drove around there. All of the overlooks, we stopped at almost every one of those. There was 3 spots where they had visitor centers along the way, so we stopped at all of those. One of them was where the restaurant was. And what else did we do? So we got home about 5 o'clock, between 5 and 5:30 Friday afternoon. So we got caught in some of the rush hour traffic Friday afternoon once we got back onto 81. Because it runs pretty much roughly parallel with Interstate 81. Although the road there is kind of it's a squiggly road, whereas I-81 is just a straight shot. It was a lot of fun. We had a wonderful time. By the time we got home, I was tired. I was road weary because 2.5-3 hour drive to get to the hotel, and paying attention with a lot of traffic on 81, and then just all day driving on Friday. But we had a really nice time. It was really nice. So we're both kind of recharged for this like final push, especially for me, for this final push for the last of the semester. So it was a lot of fun. So like I say, I'll try to remember to stick a couple pictures in here. It was really nice. The views were amazing. Yeah. I'll put just a couple pictures in at the end of just a couple of the views that we had, just so you can kind of get a feel for what we saw. Another time we're hoping, and we'd like to go back to Waynesboro, Virginia, spend the night there, and then go, because where we entered into Shenandoah National Park to go north, if you go the opposite direction, you're going on the Blue Ridge, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the south route. And that one goes through, it's like 400 and some miles. That one's a long route. And we'd like to do maybe all of it. Who knows, maybe we'll do that as a vacation sometime and make a few stops along the way, spend a couple nights along the way. We shall see. But that's kind of another plan. We'd like to do that sometime again also. And we bought one of the, we left it in the car because we figured if we bring it in the house, we'll always forget it. It's one of those, it's the larger size one of the National Park Passport books. And at each of the national parks across the United States, in the visitor centers, they have like an ink stamp that you can stamp on each of the parks where you've been. And they also have, for most of them, you can buy a sticker. So we bought the Shenandoah National Park, the sticker to go on for this park. So we're planning on, we've got a goal now that we want to go to a bunch of these parks and get the stickers and the stamps and start getting those in there. The book was only like $30, so it wasn't super expensive. And I think it'll be a really neat thing to try to fill as many of those spots as we can. And I know there's going to be a lot of them we'll never get to. I don't know if we'll ever get to Hawaii or Alaska. Who knows? But it'll be fun to try to fill as many as we can. And some of them are quite close. We're only probably about a 40-minute drive from into Maryland with the Antietam Battleground Park, and we're 45-minute drive from Gettysburg. So those are a few that we can get fairly easily. And there's a few others just right around, fairly close to us. There's one in Maryland, it's the Catoctin National Park, which when we were going down to Frederick, we went right past it. So we're going to start close and expand out and see how many of those we can get stamps on and fill out in that book. We'll have to backtrack because we went to the what's it called? It's the 9/11 Memorial up in Shanksville, on the way between where we live here towards Pittsburgh, off Interstate 76, I think it is. But it's not far from, that's about an hour and a half drive from here. So we might be, we went there just this past summer, or we went there recently. Spring, in March we went. So I'd like to go back there again so I can get, I was looking at the book then, and in hindsight I wish I'd bought it then. But yeah, hindsight is 20/20, we all know that. So now I want to go back there so I can get the stamp and the sticker in my book and see how many we can fill out. Make it a life goal to, especially as we're getting closer to retirement age. We're not there yet. No, we're not quite that close, but as a life goal is to see how many national parks we can get through. So, for someone who only had one knitting item to talk to you about, this is one of my longer episodes. Yeah, lots of other shenanigans to listen to today. So anyways, I'll run a handful of pictures at the end here of the views that we saw from the Skyline Drive trip we had yesterday. Alrighty, take care everyone, and I will see you guys again in a week. Well, I'll see you on Tuesday to talk about the Musselbrow make-along. But otherwise, I will see you guys again in a week for a regular episode. Alrighty, take care everyone. Bye.